Let's talk about transfers, though. They've got a lot of business done, Arsenal. And actually, there was a time earlier in this window, kind of, June and early July, where especially that race for either Sesko or Gyökeres seemed to be taking a bit of time. There was a bit of frustration.
Just got over that. Don't take me back.
but now, they've got their ducks in a row. They've got Gyökeres in. That's another corporate one, isn't it? That's a Simon Jordan one. That's a Simon Jordan one for sure. They've got Madueke in. Norgard's through the door. Kepa's through the door. Is there one more signing or two more signings that you would like to see them make, and who would it be?
I think one more is what I'm hoping for. I'm being realistic. They've already brought 6 in. I can't imagine that they'd bring 2 more in, but to go and get Eberechi EZE, I think would be a real sort of game changer.
You're really keen on him, aren't you?
Yeah, really keen.
Why do you think it works so well with Arsenal?
Because when I look at Arsenal's team right now, I think I'm kind of over the phase of like looking at certain positions and saying we need that position or we need that position. The only positions that we really needed in terms of like specifics for me were the centre forward, which we've been talking about for ages, and we needed to strengthen in the midfield because we've lost Partey and Jorginho in the same summer, right? So for me, it's not so much about positions now. I'm looking at it through a different lens. I'm saying, what skill sets do this Arsenal team need that they don't have? I want dribblers. I want people that play off the cuff. I want people that are spontaneous in the final third. And I want people who drift and roam, because I think Arsenal at times are too structured. Structures are for defending, in my opinion. That's how I look at football. And I think you need players that will go out there and be unpredictable. And EZE is that. I think he's really come on in the last 12 months or so. Under Oliver Glasner, I think he's developed this ability to get into the box at the right times. He's added more goals as a result of that. And I just think he's got all of those things that Arsenal are missing. And with him, to use a corporate phrase, I think Arsenal would have the bandwidth to compete for the Premier League title, the Champions League, and the cup competition.
Do you think, the only thing I wanted to ask you about with him is that he obviously is more of a number 10.
This is the thing.
Is he going to be operating in the same space as Odegaard? And the other thing is, I know they brought Madueke in, but even he's not a natural left winger. And for me, that's an area I can see Madueke starting most games on the left wing anyway, and he's just going to have to supply his trade over on that side. But as much as EZE can play there, I think he operates better as a number 10. So would you not rather have, I'm not sure if this one was going to happen, but there was talk about Rodrigo, of course, etc. Would you rather have that profile of player over someone like an EZE?
Well, Rodrigo probably would have been most people's first choice at the start of the window in terms of on that left-hand side, because there was a lot of links, there was a lot of talk about it, but it never ever really felt that realistic. Real Madrid would want big money. His salary would be crazy, you'd imagine, coming from Real Madrid. So I never really felt that was realistic actually from quite some time ago. So I kind of made my peace with that. On EZE in the left wing, you're right to say he's not a left winger, but Mikel Arteta has done this so many times where he's gone out and brought a player and moulded them into what he wants them to be. You've also got to remember that Martinelli's still at the club and so is Leandro Trossard. And at the moment, as we're speaking today, neither of them are going anywhere. So you've got left wingers. You've got Madueke, who can be a left winger. I think for me, again, I come back to that point. It's not necessarily about how am I going to shoehorn Eberechi EZE in? It's what does Eberechi EZE have that my squad doesn't? And he can add another dimension. And if he plays as a 10 at times, great. Martin Odegaard wasn't in the greatest of form last season. If he plays from the left, he'd play it very differently to the current options we have. So again, it gives you variety. If you wanted to use him as a false 9, not that we should now, we've signed Gyökeres, but there's that option as well. And if you want to compete on multiple fronts, then you need options, and he would be that.
Talking of false 9s, where not necessarily where does Kai Havertz play next season? Because we know he's a bit of a Swiss Army knife. But how much does he play next season?
I think a fair bit. I think Kai Havertz, whether you like him or not, and it feels like within Arsenal circles, he's like Marmite. Some people absolutely love him and will highlight everything he does.
Are you one of those?
And I'm more one of those than I am on the other side of it, which is to basically criticise him for the tiniest little things and to ignore all the positives that he brings to the table. You're talking about a player here that came in initially probably as a midfielder. We needed a centre forward. He stepped up. He took on that role. He runs channels. He drops deep. He, can hold the ball up. He defends set pieces really effectively for us. Like, watch out for this next season. The amount of times Arsenal defend a corner and Kai Havertz is the guy at the near post that heads it away. He can do so many different things that I think he's got value, and he's one of the people that Mikel Arteta trusts.
Yeah.
He believes in him. He knows he can give him quite a bit. And I think for that reason, there's no way he's just going to be cast aside because Victor Gyökeres has arrived. Arteta will find a way. And that'll frustrate people, by the way. He likes him, but he will find a way to have him involved.
Yeah, absolutely.